Episode 5 of 100 Girlfriends Who Really Love You has tackled the most difficult subject that I think is facing the world right now. Can you teach AI how to love? Can you teach AI love? No, not AI. AI. Nano AI is the new character they've just added to the series, and honestly, I was a bit fearful of this character. If you guys have been following me as I have been doing my impressions of the series, one of the characters in the cast that they showed for this, which they've only showed 5 of the 100 girls so far, yeah, Nano AI was sort of a character that when I seen her, I immediately thought Komi-san. Now, don't get me wrong, I thought Komi-san was adorable. I just didn't care for her character design. Her character design was a type that I didn't really care for. Plus, it kind of plays into what I thought AI was going to be, the emotionless doll, which she even jokes about that at some point in the episode. AI is the trope emotionless doll. Now, it does technically get into that idea that she's not emotionless, it's more of the idea that she just doesn't find meaning in emotion. Well, she didn't specifically say she doesn't find meaning in emotions, it's just that's the kind of conclusion you can draw because everything about her is calculated. And if it doesn't have some sort of sum or value or definition, she doesn't care about it. She's that character. And I found her to be a lot more charming than I assumed that she was going to be. I actually really did like her. Now, in the scale, I should probably do this at the beginning of every single episode, do my scale of the girls, the order in which I like them. Of course, it's still Kanane is number 1, obviously. Shizuka is number 2. I would probably, this is a hard one. Between Hakari and Nano, which one would come out on top? And don't read too much into that statement. I would probably say Nano. I do like Hakari, but she probably would go in the last. But yeah, that's probably my current standings. We'll see what Kusuri, the science girl, I'm assuming she is, will end up being. But hopefully it doesn't take too long to get around to her. I'm going to assume that we're going to have another fun little episode with the current cast. And then maybe in episode 7, we'll finally introduce her. But we'll see. But yeah, episode 5 was a lot of fun. And I do get a kick out of it. I have to admit, speaking about my list of priorities here, I do have to admit I got a lot of kick out of the fact that while we have this moment where AI goes a bit crazy with the whole finger thing, still, Kanane stills the scene. You have this whole thing happen, and Rintaro is in this moment with her going, holy crap, I can't believe this is happening. And then it just cuts to like this side view, and you see Kanane is telling the cells that it's just not like she's looking at them because she likes them or anything. Like she gets all tsundere with a clump of cells. But no, the episode itself was great. I think most of the beginning segment is this whole thing about the exams, how AI is number 1. There's this urban legend or whatever about the idea that AI is literally an AI. She's a supercomputer and she's just, everything is calculated in order to get the max results. She's seeking perfection. And that technically plays into her character. That's literally what she is. She doesn't see anything outside of values to be worth anything. So yes, when he has his little moment of Doki Doki, she's the one, it's going to make it more difficult. Now, I honestly felt like this was going to be the first time where Rintaro was going to get fearful of what was to come. Because I assume that at some point, one of these 100 girlfriends is going to be one of those situations where he cannot seem to get them to accept. And I felt like how they portrayed AI initially, she was the perfect candidate to do that. This is somebody that, yes, she feels it. Yes, she can't get over him. Yes, she wants to get away from him. She gets that sense, but she doesn't want that. That thing has no value. Everything that is of value is money. It's knowledge. It's all this stuff that you can put into action. Whereas this, I don't see any value to it. So she could have been easily one that they could have gone like 3 episodes and literally Rintaro fearing that he wasn't going to be able to grab her and that she would be the first one really being a threat to Casualty. But maybe that's something that the writer doesn't want to do yet. Or here's that struggle of understanding what the writer intends to do. I've already gotten a sense from this writer they love to dig into characters and archetypes and really do something with them. Again, that's what we've seen with Shizuka. We've seen it again with Kanane in the last episode. This writer isn't just being a comedy here. It's also partially a slice of life and having a threat there. But they're digging into the stuff, and so obviously they want to have meaning to the show besides just ecchi comedy. And so my assumption is that eventually they want to do that. But they might not want to. But that was my thought there, was like, maybe this might be that character that takes a couple episodes. But yeah, just kind of a back and forth of him trying to get with her and her denying him. The whole scene with the microscope. I have to admit, I was talking to somebody on Discord and they were mentioning the idea that they could have had AI be another thirsty character, but they already have Hikari. And I was like, well, technically, AI went further earlier than Hakari did. I mean, she literally grabbed his finger and went crazy on it. That was a funny scene. I got a huge kick out of that, just him freaking out in the middle of class. And yeah, like I said, cutting over to Kanane and Hakari saying, like, you're taking it a little bit too far for something so stupid. And Shizuka over there with the comment about carrying a cross. Like, girls gotta keep to this whole thing. But yeah, eventually that leads to the whole date and them going out on this fairy world. I like this whole segment. Again, this kind of a shtick that I'm guessing is going to be AI's thing, is that she doesn't see value to things. Now, I'm assuming that this is going to be an ongoing shtick for her, is that everything they do is probably going to be calculated by her, because she even does it at the very end of the episode. But yeah, this idea of like, okay, that's a instant film. It has no value because you can't keep it and thus you could lose it. The haunted house, you might as well call it a human house. And the teacup, the teacup completely confused her. She's like, what is the purpose of this? Which I don't blame her. I relate to that. I honestly feel like, yes, technically it is romantic sitting in front of somebody and whatnot. But it's like, it is one of those things where when I was growing up and I seen those teacup rides, I always like, what the hell is this? Like, who thought of this? Like, what is the point of this thing? It doesn't make any sense. Why are you sitting in a cup and it's rotating around? You're staring at each other. What is the point of this? So I had a little relatability to her there. But yeah, that all culminates to, obviously, the Ferris wheel ride and the whole moment of her, like, talking about how she's fearful of heights or whatever. Which is nice. I kind of was wondering if they're going to take that in a certain direction. Like, is it going to be about some sort of trauma that she has, or just legit the idea that she calculates that it's a dangerous thing? Why would I do that? But I love the fact that, like usual, Rentaro here is a fantastic main character. I love that it seems like all of this was calculated. Rentaro was thinking from the very beginning, how do I show her what she's missing? We already established before the entire thing that she loves him. He loves her. But she's saying, I don't want this because it has no value. So he's like, okay, so we've already established that she knows that we're in love. Now, how do I show her that that love has meaning? And how he does that is from the very beginning. The moment they get on that first ride, he's got this camera. He's like, I'm going to take pictures of each other. And at some point, I'm going to show her that she doesn't want to lose this. It was all calculative. And it is sad that at the very end, he's got to apologize because he's like, I know I took that too far, but it is technically him realizing, yes, I showed her that she needs this, and I had to force her hand to show her she doesn't want to lose it, and I did hurt her in the process, but it got the point across. To somebody that does not understand value outside of numbers and definitions and whatnot, things that can be proven physically, I have to show her physically that she doesn't want to lose that. Show her that there is value there, and then go to take away when she said there's no value there. Then she'll realize, oh, wait, I don't want to lose that. But wait, you thought you didn't gain anything. So thus, me destroying this, you don't want to lose it. Thus, you gained something out of this. It's a nice little message that's there. And again, additionally in there, in the middle of all that, kind of showing that he kind of sees emotion in her. Something that everybody has said, I am this emotionless person. He was able to see her emotion. He was able to see these subtle differences. He notices those details in her face. He's observant to see that, which technically does carry off to what he's done before. That whole segment where he's talking about how Shizuka, twitches her feet when she's reading. Karane likes to twirl her hair. Hakari likes to bite her finger. He's a very observant character, and I like that. And again, this all plays into a nice little kind of message to how do you show love to an AI? How do you show love to somebody who doesn't see value in anything that cannot be calculated? It was super good. It was honestly probably a little bit more simple than I was hoping, but it was still a nice little message. I think the moment that he starts to burn those pictures, it hit it. Like, it took a while, but at the very end, they hit it. Which again was the same thing with Shizuka. It was like an entire episode of Shizuka wondering where he went. At the very end, here's this app that I made. Here's this e-reader that I put together for you. Here you go. It's impactful, simple, but it means a lot to the other character. Now, missed opportunity. This is my one negative for this episode, and I honestly had the same frustration with Shizuka. I'm finding it unfortunate this writer doesn't like to show the, oh, by the way, of the invited party. Okay, so he's got Hakari and Karane. They were a pair. He brought them in together. We had that moment there. He explained the situation to them. So we actually got it there. But then we get Shizuka. Shizuka joins the party, and he's there in front of the two of them explaining it to Karane and Hakari. We don't get to see how he explained it to Shizuka. And yes, Shizuka knows about it, so that makes sense there. But then we jump to AI, Nano AI, and again, he just kind of confronts everybody, and it seems like he's already explained it to AI. That's the frustration. I kind of wanted that scene where he had to explain it to her. And I think that would have been hilarious because my mind plays out this entire scenario where he's having to tell Nano, hey, look, by the way, I already have 3 girlfriends, and is that going to be a problem? The funny scenario that played in my head was this idea of Nano in her own head, sitting there running it through her calculations. I can see her being a very calculative person that has to calculate everything. She did it several times this episode. So she could have played that whole scenario like, okay, so let's play the cons here. Okay, financially, it's dumb. Legally, it's a big, massive question mark. You know, she's playing all these actual logical things through her head and how it cannot work. But then she goes over the other side. Okay, let's look at the pros here. Obviously, Rentaro being a boy, he needs... There's value in him having multiple girls. I mean, it could have played out the whole scenario where she's kind of seeing all the positives to it as well. Okay, since he has multiple, girlfriends, that means I don't have to devote all my time to him, and thus I can focus on my studies as well. There's a lot of things that she could play into the pros, and then eventually, at some point, as she's thinking this whole scenario through and it's playing all these scenarios out, she finally speaks up and says, it's fine. And I think that would be hilarious. But unfortunately, like I said, it kind of just plays it out like, oh, she knows already, so let's make sure they're okay with it. Which, yes, technically, AI could have known that. It seems like, again, Shizuka's seen it, so Nano AI could have seen it at some point, too. But yeah, like I've assumed and joked about before, we're at the point now where everybody's like, yep, we know already. Like, he doesn't have to explain the situation. Yeah, it's good that he does it, but at the same time, they're all like, I was hoping they would kind of change it up a little bit, but it seemed like they're going to keep to the same thing. I mean, Kanane technically changed from how dare you, what the heck is wrong with you, to, well, you did it once already, it's going to keep happening, I've accepted at this point. Hakari still has the, at least you still like me, and then Shizuka over here is just like, I've guarded myself to it. But yeah, it was fun, but yeah, really, really great episode. A lot of fun. Really enjoyed it. I got a massive kick out of Nano at her house. I think that stuff was absolutely fantastic. Her just like, why did I do that? I know the importance of disinfectant. Why would I go out of my way to do that to him? Was I trying to capture him? Why would I do that? All right, Pi is life. She's like writing out Pi like crazy. It was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. She got like papers all over her walls. Totally something I could see somebody like that doing. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. The kiss. I really like that. Again, kind of is funny to the idea of Hakari being technically the one that's supposed to be the most forward and most thirsty, and how Nano can totally beat her. But it makes sense to her. I like that idea of like, okay, well, if her entire shtick is that everything has to be efficient. That's her thing. Efficient. Don't do this. It's more efficient to do this way. Don't do this. The whole book thing with the microscope was great. No, first it was like, let's just copy what the scientist did before. There's no point in doing what the scientists have already done. And it's like, but that's literally what we're doing. And I'm like, literally, that's what science is. Science is all about people questioning each other. You can't have science without people questioning each other. So yes, if this textbook says they've seen this, you got to see if it does too. Otherwise, you're just taking their word for it, and there's no point to science. There's no point to any of this stuff. But then she just put the book underneath the microscope. But anyways, yes, her whole thing is efficiency. So I like that whole little moment with the kiss and the idea that she just jumps in there. Like, no, I'm going to kiss you. And he's like, what? And she's like, well, I found it the best way to achieve my desires without fretting over everything else, like the means of it. And so I just went for it. Like, what's the point in, if it's neutral A and C is the kiss, why bother with B? What's the point of it? It was super cute. That little turn that she did was just super cute. And then yes, the efficiency of poison versus Sakuku. Great episode. Really enjoyed episode 5. Cannot wait for episode 6. Again, I'm curious if we'll go straight into Kusuri, or if we're going to have a little bit of fun time with the characters currently, which I'm assuming so, because it seems like that's what they're doing. Episode 1 was Hakari and Kanane. Then we had a little fun episode. Episode 3 was Shizuka. And then 4, we had a little fun together with them. And then I'm assuming with AI joining in 5, we'll have a 6 where they're having fun together before 7 goes into Kusuri. So anyways, hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Are you team Nano AI? What is your current ranking? That's the question. Let me know that in the comments down below. What is your current ranking? Like I said before, mine's Kanane, Shizuka, probably Nano AI, and then Hakari. So yeah, let me know. Even though I really like the thickness of Hakari. I do appreciate the thickness. Being number 4 of these girls doesn't mean that they're bad. Anyways, if you like this content, you want to support the channel more, I have Patreon link, tips, links, super thanks, membership button down below. Greatly appreciate what it does, and y'all take care.